Welcome, fellows and parents. My name is Mark Seidel, U.S. Health and Safety Manager for Global Citizen Year, and I'd like to take about 15 minutes of your time to briefly discuss our international travel insurance, core insurance. Here's our agenda. We'll quickly discuss what core insurance is, what's covered, what's not covered, and then the upgrade options available to you. Then we'll talk about what happens during an emergency versus a non-emergency and how those costs are covered. And then we'll discuss how to submit a claim for reimbursement. Core Insurance is our insurance broker, and they partner with two independent companies to provide us coverage. Access Global, the underwriter, and Europe Assistance, the medical assistance provider. Europe Assist also plans and coordinates emergency care if necessary, and this is the company that you'll be interacting with directly when you file and request for your reimbursement claims. Every fellow is automatically covered by our core travel insurance basic plan. That provides 100% coverage for emergency medical evacuation and a $50,000 limit of in-country care. Fellows whose country of domicile is not in the United States will be covered during our US-based trainings. US-based fellows coverage starts once they leave the United States. Here's some benefits and figures about the core plan for you to briefly look over. Most importantly, as I just mentioned, is that 100% coverage for emergency medical evacuation. What's not covered? Routine medical care is not covered, such as physicals, checkups, vaccinations. Pre-existing conditions are not covered. So if you have received any medical treatment or care or taken any prescription medications within 30 days of your departure, those pre-existing conditions will not be covered. If you are inside your country of domicile, you are not covered. That being your permanent address. So if you're in the country of your permanent address, you will not have coverage under our plan. And our insurance coverage is intended for coverage within the Global Citizen Year program country. Upgrades. So as I mentioned, every fellow is automatically enrolled in a basic plan. They have the basic coverage of $50,000 and 100% coverage for emergency medical evacuation. Some families choose to upgrade to increase those limits. This is totally up to you as a fellow and as a family to decide. That would be the silver, gold, or diamond plan. Also within those plans, they do have some other perks. The baggage insurance probably being the most one. So you can request for some baggage or personal property insurance in the event any bags would be lost or anything would be stolen. This does not cover laptops. And if in the event that this does happen, that you would need to get a police or security incident report to submit for that reimbursement. Here's some more examples about why some families choose to upgrade. And all of this information, along with a lot more about the benefits and how to upgrade, can be found in the coretravelinsurance.com website after you log into your Core Travel account. Please note that in order to upgrade, you must upgrade before the program starts. So for US fellows, that would be September 1st, because that is when you would leave the United States after the 1-week training in California during launch. And for non-US fellows, that would be the day before you arrive to the United States for that same training in California. So what happens during an emergency? Emergencies are not common, but they certainly do happen during our program cycle. First and foremost is notification. So a Global Citizen, your staff member is notified, typically through the emergency hotline by the fellow or a host family or another fellow. And then we would then respond accordingly, and first and foremost is the fellow's health and safety. So we would do our best to ensure that they are in a physically safe location, and then we would provide transportation to the appropriate medical facility if necessary as soon as possible. At that point, our staff member's next priority is to open a case with Europe Assist. So in the event of emergency or if there is some sort of emergency procedure, evacuation required, we want to notify them as soon as possible so that we can all be on the same page prior to any sort of procedures or evacuations. Our staff member would then support the fellow and be with them to work with them with the local physicians, also with Europe Assist, to make sure that the fellow receives appropriate care. At that point or sooner, we would contact the primary emergency contact to inform them about the emergency that's happening. We may not have all the information. However, we still want to do our best to inform you as soon as possible. So we know this can be frustrating. However, please remember that we will always put the fellow's health and safety first and do what's best for them. In the event that there needs to be an emergency procedure or evacuation, we would first confirm with Europe Assist and our medical advisor for Global Citizen Year here in the United States about that care given. Primary contacts are notified prior to any emergency procedures when possible. We will do our best to confirm with you that if the emergency procedure was happening, that you would approve of that procedure. However, we will not delay care in the event that we could not contact the primary emergency contact first. And once agreed upon by Europe Assist and our medical advisor and the attending physicians, we will do what is requested by those medical professionals. Covering costs during these emergencies. So typically, I would say appendicitis is our most common inpatient emergency situation. Other examples could be trauma or severe illness. So this is typically when the fellow is admitted into the hospital and they're going to be in the hospital for a few days. We would then work with our local contacts through Europe Assist to provide with that hospital a guarantee of payment. So once that guarantee of payment is confirmed by Europe Assist and the hospital, the fellow will not be asked to provide or make any payments from their own personal funds. So there are no out-of-pocket costs associated once that guarantee of payment is confirmed, and all expenses must exceed $100 US. For some outpatient emergencies, typical examples that we may see would be broken bones or lacerations that require stitches, or a severe parasitic illness. So this may be a longer visit to the hospital, but typically not an overnight stay. So it depends on the timing and the hospital if we can make sure that that guarantee of payment is confirmed. So we will do our best to confirm that guarantee of payment to avoid any out-of-pocket costs if the price exceeds $100. However, if the fellow is released prior to getting that guarantee of payment confirmed, then they would be required to pay all of those expenses out of pocket. And then once they pay those expenses out of pocket up front, they would then file for a reimbursement claim through Europe Assist. Most commonly we see are the non-emergencies. So that might be a respiratory infection, some sort of gastrointestinal issue, the flu. Those types of more non-emergency common things are what we typically see. And all fellows should be prepared to pay all of those expenses out of pocket. They typically do not exceed $100, and they typically do not require any sort of inpatient care. So with that all being said, we require that all fellows have available $100 in local currency at all times. And again, this is in the event that they would need to see a doctor. They will be able to get the appropriate care and then pay for those out-of-pocket expenses up front and then file for a reimbursement. If the fellow does not have the funds available, we will not delay care. However, we would then expect the fellow to reimburse Global Citizen Year as soon as possible. The fellow alone is responsible for collecting all receipts, bills, and other documentation to submit for their reimbursement claims, and ideally these claims should be submitted within 90 days. Most claims will be reviewed and reimbursed within 6 to 8 weeks, and a check will be sent to your permanent address. Our team leaders are there to support you with that documentation and making sure you have everything that's required, but actually collecting everything and submitting it is totally up to the fellow and is the fellow's responsibility. Unfortunately for our non-US fellows, without a bank that can cash US checks, we know this could be problematic in many countries. The best option that we have through our insurance is a direct deposit wire. And unfortunately, there would be a $25 processing fee for this wire. So if your bank cannot cash a US check and you do not have a contact within the US to send the check to, this is the best option that we have for you. So how to submit for reimbursement? First and foremost is finding the claim form. And all that information, along with much more information, can be found on the coretravelinsurance.com website. Please have the case number. So each individual medical incident or doctor visit requires a case number to be opened by your team leader with Europe Assist. And your team leader can easily get this case number open and start with you at any time. You would then complete the claim form and submit that completed claim form and all original medical bills, prescriptions, any other documentation within 90 days to the Europe Assistance Claims Service Department. Please keep copies for you. And fortunately, the easiest and fastest way to do this is via email. So you simply take pictures, PDFs of all of those images and medical bills, and you would attach them to an email to this ops@europeassistance-us.com website. In the subject title, you would put that case number, you put your name, a brief description of what you expect, or the treatment given, and then just all that documentation sent to the OPS site. If they have any questions or problems, they would get back to you. And again, it is an insurance company, it is a reimbursement department, so patience is good, and you can expect to be reimbursed within 6 to 8 weeks, ideally. Here's an example claim form. The key points here being is that Global Citizen Year policy number. That policy number is on the parent portal website. It is in the Core Travel Insurance website. It's also on your insurance card that you print out. So that is readily available in many places, but here it is once again. Your mailing address, contact information, and then a list of the doctors and medical facilities that provided treatment. Much more information and details can be found on the Core Travel website if you do have any more questions about how to complete this form accurately. So, if you do have questions about core insurance, that includes frequently asked questions, claim forms, example claim forms, the directions how to submit a claim, what's covered, what's not covered. All of this information can be found on the Core website, which is that www.coretravelinsurance.com website, and then also through the Global Citizen Year parent portal. So that is the globalcitizenyear.org/parent-portal-2019, and then don't forget that last /2. So if you cannot find the answers to your questions within either one of those websites, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. Just please use the appropriate avenue. So within our program dates, which would be September through April, any emergencies can be contacted through the U.S. Emergency Hotline, and that is the 415-763-5808 number. If you have a non-emergency but it is more urgent, and you are calling within our office hours, which is 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, please feel free to contact the Global Citizen Year office at 415-963-9293. Any non-urgent questions or requests, and this is probably the best way to get in touch with us for any sort of non-emergency, would be fellow.support@globalcitizenyear.org email address. And as always, we have these webinars posted throughout the program. We'll be having further parent webinars and other trainings with fellows during the program cycle. So please keep in touch and look for more information to come soon. I thank you for your time today. I hope this was informative and helpful. And as always, feel free to reach out anytime with other questions or concerns. And we look forward to working with you and for your upcoming launch in the end of August. So thank you. Happy summer.